channel. Today I'm going to talk about why I decided to become a lash educator. I am located in San Diego, California. I am closer to the border in a little town called Lemon Grove. If you're willing to come down here and travel, or if you are from around here, maybe this is the video that's trying to find you. I became a lash educator initially because there was a demand for it at the salon that I was working at. It was not something that I thought I would do. When I was little, I remember I used to think I wanted to be a teacher just because there was so many teachers in my family and I thought it was like a great route. But then I noticed, but I've never been as interested on books and education in that sort of way. I was more hands-on, more artistic. I was always drawn to beauty in a sense. I wasn't sure where it was going to take me. But then I got the grasp and the idea of being a lash educator. When I first sat down to teach this group of girls, it was 4 girls, and I was like, this is so great. I am teaching what I know best. I am teaching out of a journey of struggle because lashes did not come naturally for me. I know what comes naturally for some people, but for me it was so hard. I could not do lashes for the life of me, and it's a journey that took almost blood, sweat, and tears for sure. What made me decide to become a lash educator was that I really wanted these girls that I had started teaching with a curriculum that I was provided with. I wanted more, so I eventually started changing the curriculum with permission, always making it better, and I knew that I needed to make sure that I understood fully what I was teaching, not how I did it, but also why I did it. Why I was the one that was fully booked in my salon. Why was I the one that ended up going by herself compared to the other artists at my salon? Why was I so confident in moving from a salon backup to my own little place and doing my own thing and being fully booked? I remember there was a day that I went into this classroom. It was a conference and it was just like a little classroom about how to be fully booked. Funny enough, I was already fully booked. I had clients that would come and book like 8 weeks in advance. I was pretty booked to start off with, but I always wanted to take these classes so maybe I could take an idea on how to explain it to my students. That's why I would take those classes. And it was things that I was already doing, but they were explaining it to me. And then I remember the lady was like, raise your hand if you're somebody who has been or is fully booked. And I raised my hand, and I was the only one that raised their hand in that classroom. And I remember afterwards, girls would come to me and ask me like what I was doing. So I figured to myself, I said, you know what? This is something that I need to add to my curriculum. How am I a fully booked lash artist? And in retrospective, I do add a lot of things. And I freaking love teaching every single thing that comes with being a lash artist to other people. And the reason why I became one, it's because I know that this can be a really good career for somebody. I know that if you're a person who is tired of working this job, that job, trying different careers because you feel like you don't fit in because beauty is calling you in the back, this is that one career for you. If you're a person, because I was there, if you're a person that is very creative and you take your time and you're patient, this career is for you. You can make a lot of money as a lash artist, but not only that, you can be very happy and wholesome with your life. Your schedule, you can fluctuate it. You can actually have clientele that's meant for you, that you vibe with, that you are comfortable with. And there's so many things to make a person feel so much better. And where I am from, there's people that just don't know what to do. And there's girls that want to do things beyond beauty, but they're so held back because of the resources there is in a town like where I live. So, because of course you can go to LA and find a course, you can go to another person that would teach you a crash course and will give you all of the materials you need to basically start lashing, which is what I had. But there's so much more to that. There's so much more to just becoming a lash artist. And again, people don't have those resources. Is being fully booked, how to do that. It's if I want to start social media, how do I start it? Where is it going to take me? Another question that I get asked the most is, should I charge for my models? How many models should I take for me to feel like I'm going to become successful? How am I going to be a confident lash artist? I literally tell my students, I want you to leave here, maybe not like in level of confidence, at least 80% level of confidence that you can take any client that comes your way, because I'm teaching you eye shapes, face shapes, how to do certain things that maybe others won't take the time to teach you. Retention. I want you to make sure that you know what you're doing, how your glue works, the science behind your glue. Another thing is how to give your clients a great experience. How does your client differentiate you from others? How is your client gonna be like, I love going to her? And I am a solo lash artist, but I have students that have salons, that run salons. I have students that have overtaken followers. I have students that open up their own salon suite and then have employees around her. I have students that open up their salon suites, rent out salon suites, and then have a freaking Mercedes that they pay for. And I love that for them. Now, could I aspire that too? Yes, I can. But I honestly am so comfortable in just teaching and having my own client base that I've had for years. And I know people say that comfort zones are where you can stay stuck. If you get out of your comfort zone, you can grow. But at this moment, it's not just a comfort zone for me, it's also a happy zone for me. I love teaching and I love my client base that I have. Maybe later on I could do something, it would still be what I'm doing, but at a greater scale, like maybe a lash academy perhaps, you know. But that's something that I'm not there yet. But that I would do exactly what I'm doing in a bigger scale. I want my students to thrive. That's another thing. I am not that lash artist that gatekeeps. And even if there's a person that's not my student and then they ask me, I'll get back to you. I have somebody on TikTok asking me what glue do I use, and I'm about to make a whole video about glues and the glues that I love, just so that way they know. I'm not a person that gatekeeps, and I am not trying to be that lash artist for you. And I think that's super important. Setting myself apart from others in that point. I am teaching you literally everything that I have in me when you come to my salon. Was I scared of teaching when I started teaching? No. Honestly, it sounds very weird. Obviously, I was nervous for every single class when I'm preparing and stuff. I always get a little bit nervous because I want to make sure that I'm catering to my student at the moment. At the moment, I only do one-on-ones. But I'm always trying to make sure that I'm catering to my student and their needs and the way of learning. So sometimes I just don't know exactly what the learning cube is going to be until I'm there. And then I eventually, like, I get the groove of it and I'm fine. It's just like that first little feeling of nervousness when you get like the first few minutes before. But I was never scared. Teaching was something that actually came naturally to me. Teaching was something that I went over and I was like, you know what? I'll step into this anytime. I loved it so much. My first class was with 4 girls and I loved it so much that I was like, give me more classes. I literally wanted a class every week. But then it wasn't sustainable, so we did every 2 weeks. But I really, 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 really love teaching. Like, and I feel like maybe this is in my head or something. But as I mentioned earlier, my family, so from my grandma's side, she has 4 siblings that are teachers and they were great educators. And then I have my grandpa was a teacher, and my mom's brothers, they're both teachers, they're both educators, different tiers of education, but both educators. My mom wanted to be an educator, but then she became a mom, but she was an educator through her church. So she had great students, and I remember she was the first one. I was like 7 or 6, and she was like, in order for you to be able to teach stuff, like, you have to make sure that you understand what you're teaching and that you believe and you're confident in what you're teaching. So when it came to lashes, it came so fast and so easy because I was confident in what I was teaching and I knew what I was doing. And my students come in here without knowing anything and I blow their minds because I know a lot. I've been in the industry for so long. So scared of teaching? No, I jumped into it right away and I loved it. But do I get nervous before every class? Yeah, every single time. Somebody asked me if I had any funny or unexpected moments when teaching, and honestly, yes. I do think, although I wasn't scared of teaching has been a learning curve because there's students that it's so easy. They come in, they leave, I feel so confident, they feel so confident, we're fine. But there's some students that like I have to sit down and explain with like apples, you know? And it's fine. It's a challenge, but it's fine. Came to go around those students where they're like, I am trying to pick up what you're putting down and I'm not picking it up. Like, it's hard. And it's funny because one time I was teaching a lash lift and I was telling my student that you don't want to press on their eyeball like super hard because then that doesn't cause pain, but it causes discomfort and you don't want to hurt their eyes and you don't want to give them like a little bruise or something, right? So I was like, be gentle when you're like taking product off of the lash lift, right? And oh my goodness, this girl, she literally grabs a little piece of the remover wipes and she's like this, she's like, and I'm like, okay, girl, you can go harder. So those little things and details that I had to tweak and make it easier for my students obviously have happened, but there's been some funny moments. And then it's funny because when I used to work at the salon, and that salon was an academy as well, I remember everybody thought I owned it. And I was like, no, I don't own it. And then this girl, one time she was like, okay, but if you don't own it here, then where's your salon? And I was like, I don't have one. I was like, I'm just an employee. And it was so funny. They would just be like, huh? And then I have another student, which is all my friend, and she does my lashes. And she tells me, she's like, I literally, like, I know you never said anything like that, but she's like, I literally thought that was your place the whole entire time. She's like, I had no idea that you were just an employee there until you, like, all of a sudden came and told me, oh yeah, I went on my own. And she's like, you went on your own when that wasn't your salon? And I was like, why does everybody have this perspective that I have this huge salon for the employees? Like, that's so crazy. But it was nice when they literally thought that I could do that. But anyways, so what my students learn in my trainings, I have different trainings. So I have 3 different trainings. One of them is for you as a beginner. You don't know anything about lashes, you're just starting, maybe you've seen a TikTok, a YouTube video, whatnot, but you don't know basically anything. You don't know how to pick up tweezers, you don't know anything, you're a beginner. That takes 3 days. So I start with theory, which is like how lashes grow, how the cycle of lashes are. Then we go into a little bit more advanced, which is the science of glue, how to style a client, how to prep a client, sanitation. That's all in the first day. And then the second day, I would have you do all the hands-on stuff. So the first day is a lot of theory, but I do have you guys see the lashes, feel, see what's in your kit. I teach you what every single thing in your kit is for, because obviously you're like, okay, great, I got a pair of whatever this is, you know? And it's like, yeah, but eventually I will make a in-depth YouTube video of what's on the kit and how I explain to my students what everything is for. But that's exactly what the first day is. It's just like you learning, feeling, touching, understanding what it is to do lashes. The second day, we actually have a mannequin practice. So it's all practice, how to make your fans, if you're learning volume, if you're learning natural looks. And we learn about classics, spikes, wet looks, and angel sets. So I put that all together because they're all natural looks, and at the end of the day you want to be able to be versatile when it comes to natural looks. I try to make sure that you know that, because let's say you don't want to learn volume, but you are a beginner and you want to learn just how to do natural looks, like girl aesthetic pretty looks. I teach you every single one there's out there, because I don't think it's fair that you're just stuck doing classics, at least for the beginning part of it. And then eventually I actually have an advanced class, which is the second tier. The advanced class, I teach glue. I retouch on the glue science because you do learn it on the first part, but I retouch on retention, I touch on glue science, I touch on product knowledge. I teach you guys how to do volume in different ways. So there's a lot of techniques on how to do volume, but I mainly focus on two, which is pinching and quick fanning. So the quick fans is one of those that I really love to do because everybody picks it up so fast. But I also like pinching for the mega volume side of things. So that's my class. And then I also have, under the advanced techniques class, I have a very extensive on how to lash every single client, every single eye. I also like to make sure that you know exactly how to style their eye for what they're doing, a perfect good consultation, an experience for the client, how to be booked, social media, booking systems. I touch all of that under my advanced class. And then after that, I have a separate class, which the first two classes, you'll learn everything about lashes. But then I have an extra class for girls that, which I call it my refresher lash class. It's for girls who, so my other, I don't like to call it a third tier, it's just a separate course, which is my refresher lash course. This was specifically made for those girlies who maybe took a course, feel like they didn't really understood the basis but feel like they need a little bit more, or the girls who maybe were lash artists then took a break, like most of the time it's like they had a baby and then they took a long break of like 2 to 3 years, and then the industry changed like this. So then they need a refresher course. They were already lash artists, they know the basics, they're probably just trying to get clientele back. So it's girls that like I was a lash artist, whatever, 2-3 years ago, and then I had a baby and then I stopped lashing and now I'm trying to come back, but boom, the industry changed in 5 minutes, you know? So then they want a refresher course. My refresher course has 2 prices. So I have one where I already feel like I'm pretty confident with the company that I use, my glue, my products. So you don't really need a kit. You just want the new information and new techniques. So then we'll just do that. And then I have another course, which is like, you do know some stuff, but you want to come back and you want to refresh yourself, but you'll also want to see what's out there and want my recommendations and my product knowledge. So then I give you a kit, and it's a 2 separate pricing for those. Those are the courses that I have available as of now. Most of my courses are one-on-one, but I'm so excited. I actually am announcing very soon a date for group setting. By group, I mean I would have 2 spots available, and that's my entryway to getting a group class now, because I've been doing one-on-one trainings for 5 years. I used to do group classes and I loved them. I just didn't have the space. Now I feel like I have a little bit of a space, and if it goes well, then I'll get a bigger space for that. Okay, I'll be announcing those in April and May. The skills that you learn beyond lash training, which I think I touched a little bit on it, but I don't just want to teach you this is how you apply lashes and this is the product and that's it. I teach you what every single product is for, and I make sure that you know the techniques down. And I also teach you client retention, which retention just in general means how much something stays with you, or how much something sticks, or how long something lasts. That's what retention is. But there's 2 types of retention when it comes to being a lash artist, and one is how long your clients' lashes last, and another one is how many clients are coming back to you. So I teach both in my classes, and I also teach you how to retail products in your lash room. I also teach you how to make sure that how to go about forms and how to go about making videos and how to go about making posts on Instagram and on TikTok. I'm pretty new to YouTube, but as much as I keep learning, I'll express myself and how do I go about this, especially because I am a lash artist, but I am also a wife, I'm also a daughter, I am a dog mom, I go to the gym, and in your head you're like, how do I juggle all these things? I will teach you how to structure yourself and give yourself a schedule, even if you're still working, to make sure that you can become eventually a successful lash artist. So it's skills beyond lashing. Coming into that, I also have a mentoring program with my students that at this point feel like it sounds like I could be losing money, because I probably am. I don't know, but I give you a kit. I give you all my tools, all my information, everything that you could possibly know in my lash trainings. But then I also mentor, and I don't charge any extra for mentoring classes. It's actually not a service that I offer. I only offer it to my students. So I have students that are in active mentoring currently, meaning that they took the course a couple months to a year from now, and they are constantly in communication with me. I have some students that come shadow me with a client so they can see how I treat my clients and how I go about everything. And I have students that they're like, okay, I'm on my own and it's good, but I feel like I need to see you again. So then they come in. And I also have students that just ask me a million questions, and by a million questions, it's not something that we didn't touch in our training, it's more something beyond it. So like, hey, what company did you use for, let's say, an LLC? What do you recommend? Or, hey, I noticed that there's this new technique coming around. Have you seen it? Do you know anything about it? Do you recommend that I take the course, or is there a simple way to do it? Things like that are beyond training. Those are the questions that I like to answer. And I also have students who are not active, meaning by active mentoring is that they're not reaching out to me as much anymore. They're on their own, they're very established, they're doing great, but then eventually something happens and they're like, hey, what do you recommend on so-and-so topic? And then I can provide them a little bit of mentoring, but they are not an active mentoring thing. I had questions before where they're like, do you have a community for your students? And honestly, no, I do not. Yes, my students can follow me. Yes, my students can reach out to me at any time, but I do not have like a Facebook group for my students, or a like Instagram chat or WhatsApp chat for my students. The reason why, it's because I feel like those kinds of chats, there's only like a certain amount of people that are always chatting, and then there's people that are always watching. And it's not an actual very interactive. Some people like even try to mute the chats because it's too overwhelming for them. So I don't actually feel like I need that. I feel like my students can reach out to me at any time whenever they want. And I also have videos of, like, let's say they're like, hey, I'm struggling using foam tape, and then I can go ahead and send them a video of this is how steps to do it again, so they don't have to come all the way to see me. They just have the video now. So things like that, beyond just the fact of the day of the training, there's other things that I teach you guys. And that's all. Let me know if you guys have any more questions. After I post this video, I will make a little bubble of Q&A on my Instagram stories. Go ahead and check that out. I'm at gorgeous.beauty.bar on Instagram. Again, I'm in San Diego. And let me know in the comments if you would like to take a lash training with me, and I will reach out to you and I can give you more information on my trainings. My website is gorgeousbeauty.bar.com. You'll be able to have a pop-up, and that'll take you to my lash training page, and on there you'll see every single class that I have available and how I can go about it. And I do accept cards, and so that's where it all goes. And there's some Q&As there too, and there's my phone number so you can reach out to me. But I do think prices will increase later, so if you want to book now, book soon. So it's pretty simple. I try to keep my classes a bit on the more affordable side, although you do I do have a lot to provide, because again, I understand that some girls don't have the resources or the financial status to be able to take classes. I completely know where that comes. Like, I completely know how that feels. So then I want to make sure that you feel confident in the class you're taking, and that again, they're a little bit more affordable, but not necessarily would you not get everything that you need. And yes, eventually these prices will go up, not because I don't want to keep them affordable, but they'll go up because inflation. I also need to make sure that things are going in a flow and my business keeps going, and that is a big part of it, is going to make sure that I am charging a fair pricing for my business and my family. But that's all for now. If you guys have any questions, let me know.